You know, sometimes this life can get rough. You get knocked down, but you gotta get up.
Welcome everybody to the first episode of the APF Sports Show. My first guest that's coming by for a conversation today is a mentor, a father, a coach, more importantly, somebody that I consider a great friend of mine. He's considered the GOAT of the speed game, right? He's the owner and founder of Speedburners, the one and only Coach Rick Hagnard. What's up, Coach? How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on your initial podcast.
You're not the guinea pig, man. It was only right if I
think I'm the
brought
guinea
you
pig,
first.
and we're just gonna go through the stuff here, but we'll make it good.
Never the guinea pig, man. You're the first, and it was I was honored that you wanted to be on this show with me, man. So I really appreciate you, Coach.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So let's dive into this thing, man. Tell us about Speedburners.
Wait, I thought this was about you. Is it an initial podcast?
No, sir. This is
Okay.
all about you, Coach Rick.
Speedburners, as you know, is a speed training company out of Orange County, California. Started in 2004, so it's 2024 now. So we're at 20 years.
20. Amazing, Coach.
We train athletes, male and female, now high school age to the pros. Focus on fast twitch development, nothing slow, through a series of drills and stuff, and obviously make it transferable to their sport, whether they're football, soccer, I got MMA guys, everything. So it's a total development of the fast twitch muscle fiber from head to toe, and then try to get it specific to the movement in their sport.
Awesome. So in a nutshell, like I said, you are the GOAT at what you're doing, Coach.
Well, I don't know. Every time I hear the word "goat," they're old people. So I guess I qualify.
You
It's all right.
definitely qualify, man. You qualify, Coach. So if I'm not mistaken, I've done my homework. Upwards of 450 college athletes, male and female, that you worked with and helped.
I don't know. I do know because I had to count. Someone had asked me how many professional football players I've had, and it's like 150.
150.
I know a lot of colleges. It's probably more than that because the college athletes moving through, and it changes every year.
Absolutely.
But I'm not a numbers guy. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's just those numbers seem high when you put in the time. When you're doing this for 20-something years, you're going to have numbers like
Absolutely.
that. So, I don't know if that's a measure of success or it's just longevity.
I think it's a little bit of both, man.
Okay.
I think it's both the longevity and what you're doing. Coach, when we met 5-6 years ago,
Yeah.
and not far from here where we're shooting this podcast, that I remember just sitting back watching everything you were doing and how you conduct business, how you talk to the athletes, and it was just amazing. And 2-3 years later, I went through your program to get certified,
Right.
and it completely changed my way of training athletes. A big part of what I do and how I'm continuing to take off with my brand is simply because of what you taught me. So I'm forever grateful for that, Coach. So I just want you to know
I
that, man.
appreciate that. It's always good to try to get people to do the right thing, or train them. I don't want to say the right thing, but the right way to do things, and
Yep.
you can take that and run with it. You do a great job with the youth, which I don't have, so more patience to you. I just don't have the patience for that anymore.
Absolutely.
But we want to make sure that these kids are taught the right way,
Yes,
from the
sir.
fundamental and the technique, so they're not wasting time and they can branch off into their other sports and be successful with what we teach them. So that's the key.
Absolutely, Coach. Cool. So, what is the philosophy of Speedburners? Where did you develop everything? How did you come up? This is the Speedburners way. How I want to run it.
Well, so I started out. I cut my teeth as a high school football coach and track coach.
Okay.
So really quickly, because you've heard this before, back in 2004, Nike did a called the Fastest 40 in California,
Yep.
and so I was chosen one of the speed coaches to bring a group of kids through that, and we did really well. And then Speedburners started to grow because people had to come, and actually the name took hold because it wasn't a CIF sanctioned event. CIF here in California is the federation.
Yep.
So having kids from different high schools, I had to come up with a name, and I saw someone called a Speedburner. I think it was Michael Vick, and I said, okay, we'll just go Speedburners for this event, and then blew up. And so that's how the name started. And then I started getting people, because of that event, coming and training, personal training. And the one thing I did, my background as a football coach, with the skilled positions, which is mostly the secondary and stuff like that, and then as a track coach, as a sprinters, everything we do is fast.
Everything.
I'm not a conditioning coach, as you know. I tell people if you want to condition, then I'm the wrong guy.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure we're fast. So our motto is maybe just train fast. But I learned from people that training the muscle group, that's how it's going to be on game day.
Absolutely.
So if we're going to condition, there's nothing against conditioning people, but we don't pattern slow response, because especially when you get fatigued, if in the fourth quarter of a football game, if you slow down, but you're going against one of our guys, we're winning that battle because we have the speed when we're fatigued. We take that muscle to the state of fatigue and we push it fast so the body learns. You have the ability to make the muscle behave the way you want to as an athlete. Now, if you're a distance runner, go out there and condition and do those distance and do those miles. But for us, is most of my guys are football guys. But even in soccer, in the 90th minute, I want those guys and girls running fast to the ball, not conditioned.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's our philosophy: is we're gonna push you. We're gonna push you when the muscle's fatigued, and we want you fast. And it's speed endurance and track. For instance, they say, well, what's the difference between a 100 meter and a 400 guy? The different energy systems are employed. So with football, it's really the 1 and 2, because not even the 2, because it's ATP system. Now you get a little bit of aerobic base, anaerobic base in soccer because they're running and stuff. But I still train those kids to the point where if they got to run across the field in the 90th minute, they're moving.
They're moving, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And that's not easy to do, because you have to take that muscle to fatigue and then push them through that. And so that's what we've always done. And you've come to our training. We're not running unless I'm getting somebody ready for a 40 or something. We're not running sprints past 15 yards.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I've seen it maybe once, and like you said, when they are doing 40-yard training.
40-yard tech, yeah.
That's it,
yeah.
man. 100%. Okay, got you. Now, I know you don't like to mention some of the athletes that you worked with. Yep, too late. It's already on there,
no
coach.
Name dropping. No name dropping.
Give me like three top athletes that you worked with, coach. 3.
I'd leave people out. I can't do that. I'll leave people out. I'll just say this. I've been blessed to have some really good guys come through from the NFL, from the NBA. I've had, I think, 18 Olympians I've had a chance to work with. I have a world champion in every major sport: Super Bowl, World Series, NBA, WNBA. But that's just, like I said, I'm blessed to have those guys come through. They were probably already good when they came through, and I hopefully helped them a little bit. But most people at that level are already good. I'd rather take a high school average kid and get him or her to that level. With training, I get more satisfaction that way. It looks good on the resume when someone shows up at your doorstep and you see him on TV all the time. But honestly, and they're just like everybody else, I'm more challenged by the average athlete, because those pros are already good. You can take them up a little bit, but not much.
Absolutely.
From a genetic standpoint, they've got it. They're born with it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you.
But the guys that work hard, the Michael Jordans, the Tiger Woods, the Kobe Bryants, that already had that blessed genetic makeup. They're the guys that push and work harder to make themselves even better. Those are the guys that I think you sent me a question saying if you would, who would you like to sit? And I had a chance to sit down with Kobe. Rest in peace, a great guy. But guys like him and Tiger and Michael have a mental makeup nobody else has.
100% agree with you.
And as a coach, the hardest thing to do is teach a kid mental toughness, because it's not something you can teach like you teach running form. You can create things the athlete has to go through that physically they're done, but they got to push through mentally. But they have the kind of dedication that those superstars have. It's tough.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. You sat down with Kobe before.
I did.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, he was in his career, and one of my good friends was a trainer for the Lakers, and I went down to a place called Open Gym in Anaheim where he's shooting around, and had a chance to talk to him, he said, man, I know who you coach. I know you trained a couple of my teammates. I heard good things about you, but he goes, he's beat up.
He's beat up at that time.
He was shooting and he was beat up. But it was, I'm not gonna name drop. I've had some really good guys come through here, some really popular guys, but that was probably the first time I was awestruck.
Wow.
And he asked questions that, you got, I'm gonna really think this through because this is Kobe Bryant asking me a question. But it was looking back now, obviously it was a great chance to sit down and talk to who I think is the GOAT, him and Michael are the GOAT.
Yeah.
And his work ethic, still you go on social media and he's still out there preaching. I mean, he was a special guy that when you saw how the world mourned for him and didn't even know him, you knew that he was special.
Yeah, 100%.
So that Mama mentality lives through with a lot of people.
It does. It does. I remember I took DJ to a shoe signing that Kobe had up in Culver City, and I was blessed to get maybe 5 feet away from him. And you've heard the persona, the energy, the aura that they give off, like Michael and Tiger and Kobe. Just feeling his aura, his presence is something that it's different. It's like you can't really explain.
Yeah, I mean, when people say they're different, then those three in my mind are different.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just different. It's just you get around them and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make sure you're saying the right thing and reacting the right way.
Yep.
And he was great. He couldn't have been nicer. Asking me about how I trained. Didn't want to talk about him. The only thing he said was, I know you like shoes. Go check out my shoes. Basketball shoes are really heavy. Yeah. And it was nice and light. But yeah, that was a highlight of my career, is getting a chance to sit with him.
That's awesome. I wish I would have got a chance to watch him play. My wife, she got a chance. She and I was supposed to come out here. This is when I was still in Virginia, stationed over there when I was serving in the Navy. She said, let's go back home. Let's go back to Cali for Christmas. And I said, no, I'm going to stay. And she came out, got 2 tickets to go watch Kobe play. It was towards the end of his career. Right. And I wish that I would have took her up on that and came out and watched him play, man. But I got a chance to see Michael play twice. So, I got a chance to see the 72 and 10 Bulls and the year after that as well, too, man. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was something special seeing the things that you can't justify seeing it in person.
No, you can't. It's like the NFL. They look fast on TV. No. Get the live game, and it's crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
TV doesn't do them justice.
Yep. Yeah. And I think I told you that. Just coming out to your training, watching some of your pro guys, like damn, he's really moving.
Different gear.
It's different gear. In the special ladder that you have, one of a kind speed ladder that you have, like seeing these athletes just on your command, like I hit a second level and they just hit it. It's just like you just can't explain stuff like that. These athletes are different. Then to think about the athletes who are even a notch above that, is even scarier. So wow, man, I learned something every day when I talk to you, Coach. I didn't know you got a chance to sit with Kobe. That
wasn't planned.
Wow, man.
Yeah, that was a treat.
That's awesome,
sure.
man. Okay, so next thing, you told us about the philosophy of it. What's your take on the coaching scene right now? How do you, as far as like speed and everything, you see, I mean, the trendy stuff. You see a lot of people posting, just to post and really have no idea of like what they're posting. Trying to be flashy just for IG and stuff like that, man.
He's trying to pigeonhole me here, man.
Not even that.
I'm not biting.
Not even that.
No, I know where you're going. Here's let me answer your question the way you really wanted to ask
absolutely.
It. So training has changed a great deal in the 20 years I've had Speedburners. You know what I teach.
Yes, I do.
Now with social media, guys are, and I think COVID brought up a lot of athletic trainers now because people couldn't go to the gyms. They couldn't, and so people got out there and started training people. Now, I'm all for people who train. As long as they're working with the youth and getting better, that's fine. I don't 100%. Really focus on what other people do. I know what we do, what I do. But I do look at social media posts and see the stuff out there, right? And I try not to critique other people because I don't want to be critiqued. My whole thing is make sure you're working for the right reasons. You're trying to get these kids better. But social media has changed everything because I think nowadays there's the clickbait.
Yeah.
These guys go out there trying to get followers, trying to get business by posting things that they think will help them, maybe as a sales tool.
Yeah.
Not growing up with my business in the social media area, I don't understand it. I don't do it. You won't find pictures of me
Yeah.
on any of my stuff. I do have Instagram, I do have Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, but that's for the kids.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't. There's no training videos.
No, never.
You won't
None.
find them.
None.
The kids that I film and send it to them say keep it to yourself. Still, pictures are fine. But to me, it's they're investing in me and what we do. Let's just keep it in our little family.
100%.
Now, do I? And you know this. You know the answer to this. Will I help anybody coming through the industry up and helping them?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If someone called me, a trainer says, "Hey, how about this?" I'll sit down with anybody and do that. I had the how do I say it? The opportunity to sit with a guy back when I was coming in that was the guy, and he couldn't be more gracious. So my thing was, especially as a high school coach, you give your time away.
You do.
And so to me, anyone wants to sit down, I'll talk to them. Now, if they want to go through the certification process and do that like you did, that's a whole different thing. But someone to say, hey, am I doing this right? Or what are your thoughts on this? I'll sit down and talk to them.
That's awesome.
But in terms of social media stuff, I do see the stuff. But I guess I don't understand it because I don't market myself that way. But I do understand this is a new day and age in technology. And so I don't fault them for doing it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. 100%. And yeah, you're right, man, Coach. Like I said, going back to the years I've known you, never, no videos, still pics, everything. That's it, and I always told you, like, man, Coach, if you put videos out of like a few clips of the training that you do, it'll be viral is what they say, man, to hit and go big, man.
Well, I think there's good and bad on it because you see, and I see these posts and you look at the comments, people are real quick to just try to knock someone down.
100%.
I just leave it alone. I mean, if they're working with them, and I think there's some of that too, where they want to make someone else look bad and come with me, kind of thing. I see a lot of that, and I don't like it.
Yeah, that's true.
I went up to Nike in 2007 or so, and they called up the top 15 guys in the country, and was fortunate to be one of them. And that's one of the things we talked about is like, why can't we just, be good with what we are and supportive of everybody and not get out there and point fingers. But I just think that's human nature. They're going to do it. There's going to be guys that do it.
Yep.
But you try to stay focused and, as long as we get results, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're in a results-oriented business. If we don't get results, we're out of work.
100%. 100%,
So, and you know this. You've seen trainers come and go pretty quickly.
Real quick. Quick.
So it's up to me. Everybody would be successful, but they do things their own way.
Yeah, 100%. You're right.
That's
man.
as diplomatic as you're gonna get.
I love it. No, I love it, man. I wasn't trying to get you.
You're trying to get me. I know you, man.
I wasn't, man.
I know how to do this. That's okay. That's okay.
But no, you hit it right on the head without, like I said, I've known you, and I'll say this again, for years, and you've never, said anything bad about any trainer at all. Anyone that's coming up, you say, this is what I do, is how I do it.
Yeah.
And this is how they want to train their athletes. That's on them.
Right. More power to them. And I really don't think that any coach or trainer goes out there trying to make an athlete worse.
No.
If they do, it's just it comes with a lack of understanding maybe if that happens. But I mean, most coaches and trainers are in the profession. It's a profession to love. You gotta love what you do. You gotta love the kids you're working with. So I don't think that's their prerogative or their objective, I should say. Sometimes it turns out that way, and you get people jumping. It's a different world. People jumping from school to school, trainer to trainer, looking for the next best thing. But that's just life. It's gonna happen.
It is. 100%. So you only worked with from ninth grade, if I'm not mistaken, ninth grade and up, right? Now, what's your take on that, Coach? Why only ninth grade?
Well, here's the reason I do it. Again, and you already know this answer, but for your viewing audience, we work at a very, very high rate of speed, which requires an application of force. So I used to have young kids when I started out, right? And with the young kids like you do a great job with them. The fundamental teach is so important. So, but until they start to physically mature and can apply force, gain some muscle, they're not going to get faster. Now, you're going to get a little bit of speed involvement with your young kids simply because they're going to be more efficient from a technical standpoint, but it's going to cap until they physically mature, and boys and girls alike. and they can actually apply force. Because now here comes the speed.
Yes.
So to me, it's not a challenge for me anymore to do the younger kids. And I tell the parents that want to come to me, I'll farm them out to you or somebody else and just go, look, this is where you should go, because they do need that type of training. For me, if I train your son or daughter at 6, 7 years old, he or she's not going to get faster, so I'd be stealing your money.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yep.
And then he or she is not going to like the training, not want to come back when they're in high school and they really need to.
Yep.
Now, you make it fun for them, you have different drills for them, and they do get better, but again, it's going to cap.
It's going to cap. Yep.
Because they just don't have the muscle to apply force. And so that's why I do it.
Okay.
And I think, honestly, as you get older too, I have to be challenged.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I got to be challenged, and the great thing with the high level athletes is you can create more drills. You saw that the other day. We create things that they can do that a normal athlete can't do.
Yeah.
So that's where the challenge comes for me
Gotcha.
to do. So.
Gotcha. And that makes sense, and I think maybe last year I text you and was like, Coach, I'm starting not to feel challenged. And you told me that I would get to that point at some time.
Yeah.
It's nothing like you said, I love working with the youth, but as a coach, our mindset, right? We like to be challenged. We want to think a lot. We want to make sure that we continue to prove our athletes. But when you have that age group of, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, whatever, you're really not as challenged as you would be working with, high schoolers and stuff.
Yeah,
like
and I
that.
think so. I think what you got to do is create a challenge for it. Whether it's making them have fun, you got to change up the routine.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you'll lose them. Because at the end of the day, those kids, like when we do camps, we make it fun for them. They want to have fun with the training, and make sure. And then again, whenever you're charging people, the parents need to know that they're going to a person that can get them better. Not only get them better, but be also someone they look up to that can help them in other parts of their lives.
100%.
So, I've had many people say you need to put life coach on your business card, but it becomes that way. People start to talk to you, and it's outside the training that you start to reach and help those kids too. So that's what you're doing. Young kids need mentors coming up.
They do.
Besides mom and dad.
They do.
And sometimes they're not getting it at their schools or their teams or whatever, and that's where.
It's where we come into play.
You come into play with those young kids, right? So you'll find challenges for it. You'll just create things and find things for them. But, that the challenge is the challenge.
Yes.
How do I make it more challenging for me, for my young athletes, so they don't get bored?
And that's what you told me. Word for word, you told me the same thing when we talked last year about that. And that's what I did, find ways to challenge myself to make sure they're having fun, that they're continuing to come into Athlete Performance Factory to train and stuff like that, man.
For sure. Every day they come in to see, no matter what coach, trainer, whatever it is, they should leave better. You should be able to say, did you get better? They should resounding, yes, I got better.
Yep.
If not, then it's on us.
It's on us.
We're not doing something right,
100%.
but because the kids want to come, they're going to have to want to love to come to training.
Yes.
100%. So
100%.
even if it's grueling like my stuff is, you've seen, they're there.
Man.
They're there. They may be hovering over a trash can for a minute, but they're there.
But they're there,
because they know it makes them better, and they understand the philosophy, and that's another thing. Make sure the kids understand why they're coming there, because when they know the why, then they're going to give you the effort, and they're going to want to get better.
100%. 100%.
So.
Yes, I love it, man. That's right. And when you first started, you said you was working with the youth athletes, right? The parents, how
it's different.
It's different.
It's
It's a little bit different.
I'm blessed because the people that come to me, you should have the same thing. There's a time commitment. There's a financial commitment.
Yep.
When I do my evaluations, I bring them in, privately, but 1 or 2 parents is there.
Yeah.
So not only am I evaluating the kid, I'm interviewing the parent.
You have to. Yeah, you do.
Because I'm not dealing with parents.
No.
They're welcome to come watch, but I tell them as soon as they step on the field, they're mine.
Yeah.
I don't go into your house and tell them what to cook for dinner or what they should do. You got to trust me.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work out after a few times, then you can leave. But you got to let me coach and bring your kid to whatever he or she's goals are. Get them to that point, but you got to let me do it.
Absolutely.
So you got to trust me. But there's a lot of people, I understand, that go from trainer to trainer because it has to be a fit. I think it has to be a fit for the kid too.
Yeah,
You know?
does. It definitely has to be a fit. But so I remember when I first started, dads, well, they're not getting faster. You know what?
Well, you know why? We just explained that.
Yeah, we just explained it.
You know,
just
so
explained it.
You might have to preface that next time they come,
Yep.
a new one comes in your program. Look, until he or she, you know, physically matures.
Yeah,
you're not.
This is how it's going to be.
Gonna
Yeah,
happen.
and that's exactly what I told them. Like, they're physically just not strong enough,
Right.
man. You know, it's going to take time. You know, you can't expect, you know, little Johnny right here, who's 8 years old, to run a 4.940 right now. It's not going to happen. You know, and I get it. You invest the money into them, and which is the great thing. But they're going to get faster as they get older. You know.
I think you alleviate that problem by telling it right up front.
Yep,
Let the parents know right up front. You know, we're going to teach them how to run. They're going to be efficient, and you know, the rhythm patterns and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff. But that's why you got to be careful calling yourself a speed coach.
You do 100%. Yep.
I don't have a problem with it because that's what we do. But with you, you're more of a sports performance specialist, where you can get those kids, you know, doing the things properly.
Yep.
But then you always have those dark horse kids that come in and like built like Bam Bam and go, wow, and they're faster than everybody out there.
Man.
But those guys are rare too. So
Yeah,
I think the training part of it is like, let's make sure that you know what you're getting into, and then you won't have those problems.
Yep.
You know, because I think most parents, you know, we're parents. If we have someone in our life that our kids love, I'll pay anything. That's a mentor to. Back then, my daughter was a dancer, and I'll pay anything.
Yeah.
You know, because at some point your kids don't listen to you.
They don't, man.
You trying to hand off DJ to me already. So
I'm going to hand off DJ to you. What are you talking about?
But that happens. You know, it's like same message, different head is what we say in the coaching world, right? The same thing Dad's telling the kid, we're telling him, but he ain't listening to Dad. He's listening to us.
Yeah.
It's like that. They get to that age where that happens. It's not a slap at the parents. That's just how kids are.
It's happening.
You know,
man.
you're a coach. Your kid is looking at me now.
Yep,
I don't care
100%.
what he says. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but he's also getting that age where it's almost time.
It is. Yeah, 100%.
At some point, you got to hand them off.
You do.
You
You do. And that's why I'm like, when I say I'm blessed to have you in my life because, you know, I think maybe last year or so we texted about DJ, man. Like, I know you don't take him like this young, coach, but he's in that stage, man. He's in that stage right now.
Well, and now you know after having him the other day that he's got some things he's got to work on.
Yeah,
he's
does.
growing too.
Yeah.
You know,
Like crazy.
So,
Size 12 shoe.
Yeah.
You know, he's
but
crazy.
he's really not at the point where he can really apply a lot of force
No.
yet either.
Not yet.
So.
Not yet. But I know it'll eventually get there. And you know what? And it took me time to really realize that about him. You know, being I can realize that with other kids, but I'm looking at him like, man, you're my son. You're doing the training. You should be here and there.
And then we've had this conversation. That's because you looked at him through the lens of a dad.
Yes, 100%.
You did not look at him as a coach, and that's tough to decipher when you wear both hats.
Yeah.
But now you know.
I do. Yeah, now I know, man. You know, but like I said, I'm glad that I'm going to be able to send them off to you real soon, man.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. Okay, Coach, got a few more questions for you.
Shannon Sharp notes here.
I have to, man. You know, I want to make sure that, you know, this is a great experience for you, Coach. Like I said, you're the first one here. And like I said, I'm honored. So I got to make sure I do this.
It's been a
the
great
right
day.
way,
I got
man.
to meet your cameraman. It's been the plus of the day so far.
That's all. Really, that's the plus of the day.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What books did you read to kind of help you along the way with your coaching, man?
I don't even think I did. I used to go to a lot of clinics. I'm a guy who goes and listens to coaches and stuff. And I think one of your things said, who's the most influential person in your life? I don't have one. My father, for sure.
Awesome.
But other than that, I pull from all the different coaches. My years as a football coach, going to clinics. Track, same thing. Got a lot of stuff from Coach Alice at USC about training fast in track, right? He had a philosophy that he was doing that way before anyone else was, right? So so I kind of adopted that.
Got you.
Everything he did was fast, and his saying was, "Don't train a racehorse like a plow horse, because that's what you're going to
I
get."
love it. I like it.
Right, so I stole that and use that all the time. But yeah, as speed athletes, you're racehorses. You train them slow, they're going to become plow horses because you're teaching them also to behave slowly.
Absolutely.
But there is a book called Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Say it again, Coach.
Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Chop
that
wood,
I
carry
give as
water.
gifts to my athletes all the time.
Chop wood.
I think every athlete should wear it. It's about the process, about the grind,
Okay.
about being in love with the process and in the journey and not looking too far ahead to the goal. And I highlight it, I read it, like I'm heading out to Hawaii next week. I will read it on the plane again over and over. It's a really easy read. You can get it on Amazon. But that's one book that I think that every athlete should read. I got it from a friend of mine who trained with me for a little bit that was in the CFL and the NFL. A really great guy, and he says, "Hey, coach, you got to read this book." And I read it, and I give it to everybody.
Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta look into that. I've never heard of that book.
Yeah, no, it's a great book.
That's awesome.
And it's an easy read. So when you're talking about giving books to athletes, easy read.
Easy
Not any
read.
pictures, but it's an easy read. You know what I mean? So.
Chop Wood, Carry Water.
And I always tell, because I do it, I tell people to highlight.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when you go through it again, you just read the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone it over and over and over because you forget some things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have my phone too here with all kinds of stuff on there that I could sound really cool, spitting it out, but I try to remember some of those things. But yeah, it's just being in love with the process.
Gotcha. Do
that's
you
basically
specifically remember one highlight out the book that
I knew
stood
you were
out
going
to
to say
you?
that.
I had to.
And I think,
to.
so I looked in the book just because you didn't do this. I don't look like a dummy, but let me see what it says here. It was, you mind if I do the Shannon Sharp thing with you?
No, please do it, man, please. Yeah.
It's just, I wrote it down because there's so many things in that book. Mediocrity is replaceable, greatness is not. So,
Love it.
But there's a whole thing that leads up to that chapter, and there's something below that. Here, I'm just going to read it to you because I'm not going to.
Okay.
What leads up to it, it says, when you go on a self-directed journey, you're learning things and developing skills that make you highly irreplaceable. Even if you aren't the best, it's still very hard to replace you. So those are little tidbits through that book that you can pick up on, but the synopsis is just it's be in love with the process. Right, and don't give up, and through that it makes you mentally tough. We talked about earlier about how hard it is to do that.
Yeah.
So it's a great book. Like I said, when you sent me, I did look at it and go, oh my God, Chop Wood, Carry Water. I have that everywhere, right? So,
that's awesome.
But sometimes I just gotta look back and I don't have that photographic memory you do.
Man, our coaches are short-term memory.
Short-term memory.
Yeah, man, short-term. Yeah. But I like that. Chop Wood, Carry Water. I gotta.
Easy read. Super easy read.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Chop Wood, Carry Water, guys. Look into it. All right. Next question for you, Coach, before I let you get out of here. 2 more. I'm not going to put your age on the camera.
He's already qualifying this.
But what I want to know, if you can go back to your 18-year-old to 21-year-old self, what kind of advice would you give yourself along this journey that you've been on?
Basically, what I just talked about. Enjoy the journey. When you're that young, you think you're going to go out and conquer the world.
Yeah,
right? I'm going to be rich at 21 and all that kind of stuff. And life doesn't work that way. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And I hate that because I'm a speed guy. But it's true. You gotta go through the process and be patient. I think patience is the one thing that I think in any realm of life that you gotta have as you're climbing the ladder or trying to do that, because it's not going to come easy. For guys that are athletes, like we were, things come easy for us maybe. But when you get into another other type of profession, it's not going to come easy for you. You got to build it, And so patience is the key. And I wasn't patient at 18 or 21. I thought I could conquer the world like everybody. I think every kid goes through that. But yeah, the process is long. The journey is long. But if you just stick with it and do the right things, I think that you have a really great chance of being successful.
Yeah, 100%.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense, man. I remember 18, joining the Navy and thinking I'm going to conquer the whole Navy when I got done with boot camp. And like you said, it's the process of just enjoying the journey. And I didn't enjoy the journey that I was on while I was in the Navy. And even when I got out, started with training, I didn't enjoy the journey. And I didn't really start enjoying the journey until I got with you and I got certified. And really, you mentored me. That's what made me really embrace, okay, this is going to be a journey. Right. And if I would have known that when I first started, even just first started coaching.
You're still on that journey.
I'm still on that journey, 100%.
Yeah. The journey doesn't end.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And if I would have known that when I first got into coaching athletes, I just really feel in my heart that I would have been further along with everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, but you go at the pace you're supposed to go at. Because if you go too fast, there's mistakes that you make along the way that you learn from.
Yeah.
And then when we're coaching, that's world experience, so that you can talk to people that say, "Hey, don't do it that way because I went through it." You got to share those experiences, right? So you're still on the journey. You're still enjoying the journey. You're still growing. What are we doing here behind mics? I would have never thought you would have been doing this,
No.
a long time ago. But you're growing. You're growing, and every day you're growing. So enjoy the journey. It doesn't end.
It doesn't.
People think there's a journey and there's an end, and I've made it. No, it doesn't end. It doesn't end unless you want it to.
Yeah.
And that's retirement, I guess, right?
But even then, no,
but if you keep evolving as a coach, trainer, or even a person, it doesn't end.
It doesn't. 100%. 100%. And I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, Coach. Like I said, I'm looking at the journey, like you said. I'm thinking about just my own kids. Looking at DJ, who's, in middle school right now. 2 years from now, he's going to be on his high school journey. So it's about to begin, So and I'm going to be on this ride until, if he's blessed to be a D1 athlete, which I pray about, if he's blessed to make it beyond that. This journey never stops, man.
Yeah. I mean, everybody should have that dream too, but it's important too to know that it's changed so much, the landscape of, football and scholarships and all that, that you got to be realistic. Right now, for you to be a D1 scholarship kid, you got to be a 4 or 5 star.
You got to be a 4 or 5 star.
The old days where they took that 2-star and said, "Hey, in 2 years he's going to help us in our program," are done.
Yeah.
Because they don't have time to develop them because they got to win now. So they're going in the transfer portal, they're going into JUCO, and then they're getting the 4 and 5 star guys, and the other kids are left off the side. So it's important now to start preaching to these parents and these kids that the reality is, there's plenty of small school colleges too, and you do want to have that D1 NFL dream. I think every kid should have that. We don't take that away from them, but also be realistic that, look, as the landscape changes, we have to adjust to that too.
Yes.
Maybe going to JUCO is great because some people aren't mature enough to leave home anyway. Just go there, get better. Especially the JCs around here are great.
They are.
And mom and dad save money on tuition and stuff, and then maybe you grow, you mature, and you can get that. So that dream can still be alive.
Yes.
It's just not really viable out of high school unless you're really, really a fresh type of athlete.
You got to be like that 4 or 5 star. Like
It's just, Coach. And some people haven't come to grips with that yet, and that's a difficult conversation to have with kids and parents.
Yeah.
But it's the truth.
Gotcha.
So you have to spit the truth to them, or they're not going to respect you.
100%. I think I've had to sit down with so many parents, and just inform them. Just let your kid develop. Let them. Don't try to push them away. D1 this, D1 a bus. Just let your kid develop, man.
It's a different world, man.
It is, Coach.
Different world, man.
Different
so
world.
they're chasing, NIL money, as they should. If it's out there, go grab it.
100%, yeah.
But less than 1% of people that play football their entire life get through the NFL. Less than 1%. I can't even give us a number.
Yeah.
So there's life after that.
It is.
And that's what they don't understand, that all the people we train that aren't going to get to the highest level, they're still learning life lessons through the training.
They are.
Right?
Yep.
So, and they'll be better off. And there's a reason why those major corporations now bring in athletes to work for them, because they understand what they've gone through in terms of the grind and the mental toughness and the emotional stability. All that stuff comes into play, and they want those people working for them.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm looking at, just like, even though I didn't, wasn't blessed to go to play D1 ball or anything like that, but just with me joining the military, and when I tell my parents, like, hey, this is my background. Oh, wow, you was in the Navy.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're my kids with you. We know that you have structure. We know that you're going to be firm. You're going to love them. Everything that you put on the line when you serve, you're going to help our kid with as well.
Right.
So,
right.
It's
That's important. That's important, because they have to, some people come from an undisciplined environment in ours, and they rebel because they're not used to structure.
100%.
Right? And so, that's not something I like to teach either, but, sometimes people need to understand that, because they're not getting it anywhere else.
They do.
And that's one of the things athletics gives us. Because it's the structure, it gives us the discipline.
Yes.
All those things intertwined together. So it's your job to make sure that they understand that. Other than just making the kid faster, what's going on in his life?
Yes. 100%.
That kind of thing. So I think that's incumbent on all of us to do that, and not just kick them out the door when they've done their hour of training.
Yes.
Try to read that and see if there's something else they need.
I definitely do that. That's one thing, and I'm pretty sure my parents can say that I'm there talking to the kids. Hey, man, how was school, or how was your break, or anything like that. Whether they want to tell me about how many Fortnite games they play, whatever it is, and I want them to understand.
Now all these knuckleheads are in anime, and I don't know what that is.
So yeah, man, they are. But
you feel old at that point.
Yeah, but having that rapport with them, it definitely goes a long way, Coach.
Yeah.
Last question I want to, come off with you, and before I let you get out of here, one thing that Coach Rick would like to be remembered for. If it's one thing, what would it be?
Here we go.
One thing.
I don't know that every time someone came into my program that I invested in them, and I gave every bit of me to them, that they learned something besides getting faster, maybe a little bit about life or, hard work, all the little building blocks that we have, but that I didn't cheat them. Yeah. I tell people that come to my program, look, just match my effort.
Yes.
That's all. You'll get better.
Yep.
Right? Because I'm not going to sit there and go, come on, let's go, Darius, run fast. I'm not doing that. I don't coach effort, right?
No.
So I think that's probably it. I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with what do you want on your tombstone, man?
I didn't say that, man. I didn't say nothing about the
That's
tombstone.
basically the same thing. But anyway, it's just like, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even put any thought into that. But yeah, I mean, that I didn't cheat them.
That's
that
awesome.
they came to me and they got their money's worth and they're better off as a person, whether they go on to play, pro sports or just take those lessons in their lives. And that sounds kind of whatever, but it's a truth in all of our stuff. It just happens. I mean, I learned how to be a good man from my dad, who's military like yourself, but also from the coaches I have.
Yeah, 100%.
And you need to deal with those coaches. They all have different ways of disciplining, so it makes you a different type of person. You have to, not everyone's military, especially nowadays. You can't be a military guy. Yeah. Oh God, you get in trouble now.
Yeah.
But there's just different ways of structuring discipline than just yelling and screaming. Too.
100%.
So,
100%. I've seen coaches yell. We all use, per se, curse words, not directly pointed at the kid, but you may have said, a few curse words. But I've seen coaches, every other word out their mouth is a curse word towards a kid, or is throwing medicine balls at them and stuff like that. What are you doing, man? You're gonna scar the kid before he, or she gets on that journey.
Yeah, and they don't understand that it's a profession of teaching.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, you have to love teaching. You have to love the kid too. It's a profession of love, and if guys like that, then there's no room for you. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine. Go do something else.
100%.
I mean, I don't know one person I've lived a long life that likes to get yelled at.
Yeah.
Even you in the military, you didn't, but you understood the reason behind it.
You understood it.
But with today's, I mean, if you're a football coach, your passion gets you may raise your voice.
Yeah.
But if you raise your voice at a kid, later on, walk over and put your arm around and say, "This is why I did this."
100%.
But you got to understand how to push buttons too, because some kids can take that.
Yeah.
Some kids, you'll lose them.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. The art of coaching is how do I. The hardest thing to teach is high school girls, man. That age where you're trying to get them to do things, and they're different than guys, but
they are.
But that's a challenge.
It is.
It's a real challenge to get them to do what you need them to do, because
you're
of
right
a different
about
animal.
That, Yep. Even some of the younger boys, too young-minded boys.
Yeah.
Same way. You said that going around putting your arm around after you may yell at them or something like that. I had to do the cameraman son like that on Thursday, man. But after it was over, he knew. Yeah, he knew it.
Yeah.
And he's my coach. I'm sorry, my bad. It won't happen again. He knew and everything. I said, yeah, man, it's just a lesson that we learned. We good. I love you.
And
let's move on.
especially your age, they're just kids.
They're just kids,
man. They don't know you, but you have to set your boundaries for them.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not acceptable here. And then if he's a good kid, which he probably
No,
is,
he's not. He's a great kid.
don't just say that because his dad's here.
No,
but if
he's
a good kid, he's like editing it out. If he's a good kid, then he'll learn that lesson and move on, and he won't have any problems anymore.
100%. He's definitely one of the leaders in the program. He is a good kid. So, but like you said, just he understood my bad coach, and I put my arm around and let him know, and it was all good, man.
It's pretty easy to do. That's all you got to do. If they like you, they'll play for you.
100%.
Really easy.
Yep. Awesome. Man, Coach Rick, again, I just want to give you your flowers again, man. For what you meant from my family and I, my program, the mentorship, more importantly, the friendship. I really, really wholeheartedly appreciate you every aspect of my life that we known each other, man.
Right.
Keep doing what you're doing. Speedburners is here. Even we were talking Thursday when I came up and seen you. One of the guys that you had there. Speedburners got to live on when Coach Rick stopped.
Yeah.
Now, Coach Rick, I'm there. I'm gonna make sure that Speedburners continue to thrive and continue to live on. Whenever you call it quits, man.
Anytime soon, that's for sure.
No time soon, Coach. I want you to keep going.
Call me old. This is what
I didn't.
see that, right?
Well, per se, I'm not calling him old, but he's seasoned, is what we say, man.
There's no. I'm not stopping anytime.
No, please
soon,
don't, man.
But,
Please
that
don't,
keeps
man.
you young.
It does.
Young kids keep you young.
Yes, it
You know,
does.
I mean, the young athletes, I guess.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm not built to be a guy who's in an office in a cubicle.
I hate it. Yeah, can't do it. Can't do it,
Yeah,
man.
but I appreciate it, and want to say, Athlete Performance Factory. It shouldn't have been about me here. It's his podcast. He does a great job with the youth. I send him as many kids as I can because I know they're going to get the guidance, the coaching, and the direction from you, not only as a coach, as a man. And that's what we need in this world. We need more people like you to do what you're doing.
Thank you, Coach.
Keep up the great work.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
I'm freezing right now because it's like 39 degrees. I'm shivering, but driving all the way down here was worth it to meet the cameraman. And,
okay.
Yeah. So, but I appreciate you having me.
Thank you again, man, Coach. It's been an honor. Like I said, I love you, man, and on to the next one, Coach.
Let's go.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. All right.